Welcome to the Inner Reboot with Sam and Heidi, your weekly pit stop to shake off the stress, laugh at life's plot twists and recharge your mindset. Because let's be honest, transformation doesn't have to be boring or involve 75 different types of smoothie.
So grab a drink, smoothies if you must, and join us for the wins, the fails and the awkward bits, because sometimes the biggest breakthroughs start with an inner reboot and occasionally forgetting why you even walked into the room. Hello.
Hello.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday indeed.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm not getting blinded by the sun this time, so I'm really good.
You're safe.
Yeah.
We keep an eye on the sun and we have a window to do it in.
We do.
Not that we want the sun to go anywhere. It's very lovely. Yeah. How was your last week been?
My last week has been interesting in that I've felt challenged and productive at the same time. It's like a proper oxymoron. I think I felt challenged. So basically, this last week, we've been creating lots of assets, I suppose, resources for the website and other bits and pieces. And my job was to create the resources. And
my job was to.
That is my job. And I felt really challenged at the beginning, and I got really stuck in that headspace of, I can't do this. I'd convinced myself that I couldn't do it. And I think it was out of frustration and it not looking like I wanted it to look like.
Yeah.
And thinking, is it going to be a load of rubbish? Are people going to look at it and be like, what the hell is this crap? Like that, those are all the little gremlins in my head talking to me. So I kind of had to take a bit of a reset and navigate myself away for like half an hour.
Yeah.
And try to get in that headspace of, I can try to do it.
Yeah.
It's not can't, I can try and just keep trying. And eventually the trying led to where I wanted to get to. And then I felt like I was on a roll. Like it felt really cathartic, like a weight had been lifted. And I was like, oh my God, I can actually do this.
Yeah.
And actually it looks okay.
And they look great.
It's turning out okay. And then I got on a real roll with them and just pumped out loads of them.
Yeah, got all of them done.
And kept going. And it felt really, I definitely felt like I went through this transition of, I can't do it. I was really angry with myself, really frustrated, a bit upset, like I'd let myself down, and then moved very quickly into, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I can do it and it's fine. So I definitely felt I went through like a mini reboot myself this week, which was,
What you've just said that's really interesting. I think it's the thing that probably both of us find the most challenging in some ways is taking our knowledge, our insight and our specialist background and our niche and making it visually engaging, getting our words onto paper. That's why I like actually doing the podcast, apart from the technical bit to begin with, when I didn't know how to do that. That was the blocker. But actually having a conversation, talking about the things we talk about, and if we are doing a webinar or if we are going in and talking to people in organisations or we're doing coaching, like whatever it is, all of that is fine. And we could do, if we were dumped in places on a daily basis to deliver that, that would never cause us the challenges. The bit that does is getting it onto paper and then getting that into a way that is either visually engaging or not worth going on Instagram, but like is appropriate to go on Instagram or LinkedIn. And it's not even the marketing. Like I keep saying marketing. I don't think it is that. I think it is just turning something engaging visually.
It's hard
that people are going to read or look at.
It's difficult. You said something really interesting this morning, which is I'm not leaning into my strengths. And that was what I went through. I felt like, and it's a bit odd thing to say because in my head, I know all of this stuff. And it's like you said, if you dumped me in a room full of people, I'd be in my element because I know how to talk about it. But then the other part of me is actually quite creative. So I like designing things and doing things. But the reason I was so frustrated is because like the two weren't meeting. They just weren't gelling at all. And I was like, I know what I need to say. I know how I want it to look. So the bit where I got stuck was, how do I use the software to get it to do what I needed to do? Because I had a vision in my head. Like I kind of was like, I know what I want the look and feel to be. I know what the flow needs to be, but I couldn't get the software to do what I needed it to do. So it was almost, that's the bit I've always struggled with, is like the technical side of things and also not having the patience. I do find that I run out of patience a lot because I get in this real frustration mindset. And then it is that I just can't do it. I can't do it. I'm useless. And you're just constantly batting that around.
I think also it's like it takes time, and I am with you on that as well. Like I can't play around and fiddle around because I get too overwhelmed then, and there's too many options or there's too many different things that you can do. But then also you don't want to land in that space of like, well, good enough's good enough because you're frustrated because you've had enough of like tinkering around. Yeah, I think it is hard. I find it much easier if I'm working with, I'm not creative in terms of visually, I'm creative in terms of problem solving, but I even still find it easier, pen and paper, brown piece of paper, like doodling. As soon as I sit, even if it's to write something or to write a PowerPoint deck or anything like that, as soon as I sit in front of my laptop, I'm literally like, oh, everything's gone.
Yeah.
Like, my mind has gone blank.
I'm like, now what?
Yeah.
Where do I go? How do I
start
do
this? What's the first thing I put on that bit of paper? Whereas if I'm just scribbling, it just sort of happens.
Well, it evolves into something that you're trying to put out there. But yeah, I'm the same. I really struggle to. We will get better at it though. It's just
I think we
patience
are
and
massively.
time. Yeah.
Like if you think back, and we're starting to build these asset banks now as well that are starting to get a bit of a look and a feel for them in terms of what our branding might look like, and it's starting to have a bit of our character and our energy through these things. And so if you take a step back and look at everything we've done, there is all of that pulling together. But when you're still in the moment, even like I've got a few templates now on Canva for Instagram posts, but even still I sit there and I go, how am I gonna get these words across?
Yeah.
And make like it just, I think it is like a really weird block.
It's weird, isn't it? We've talked before about change and transition, which we've kind of already been through that bit. Like we've made the big decision, we've done the big change, we've gone through most of the emotional roller coaster that comes with the transition side of it. So the fear and the all of that stuff.
In terms of from being employed into
where we are now.
Yeah.
And I think even though there's still a lot of transition to go through, because there is still fear and there is still that worry of like all the things we've just said. What if it doesn't look right? What if people don't understand it, etc.? So the part of the transition is still there. But you were saying earlier about adaptability and having to adapt to our new environment, which it kind of is.
I think that's probably been the biggest challenge, but not one that I've really thought about literally until today, probably, or the last couple of days, which is having to constantly adapt to things being different. But also, I guess there's so much more compromise than I probably anticipated or thought there would be as well, in terms of like, this is great and I wouldn't and don't want to change it for the world. But there are also those, when you haven't got stuff, you then realise what you don't have that is really helpful. So for example, and I haven't had it for quite a long time, but like the energy of being in a bigger team, like a big team, or the energy of like going to the office 3 days a week. Like actually what my husband and I have realised is I need to be around people an awful lot more than I've remembered. And I haven't, and I have a bit of that structure and that consistency. So these are all things that I want the flexibility, and I'm loving the flexibility, and like, so I've gained so much, but also there are these things that are really helpful.
Yeah.
That for me as a character fill my cup. I think that's what it is. Like there's like bases, or they like the teaspoon theory, that type of thing. It's like if I've got a bit of structure and I'm going into an office, that's like one layer. And then if I've got like a good team of people where we have a chat about the weekend and we have like that social interaction, that's like another bit. And then if we know what we're working towards, that's like another bit. And so we have that, but ours is in a different form at the moment.
Yeah, it is. But also I think we forget that I know a long time ago, when we were coming out of COVID, people had been working remotely and they were saying it's a very lonely place to be. Which it kind of is. So we're having to adapt to our surroundings.
Yeah.
And it was kind of, hang on, we're now all on our own. Then it's no, we're free, we're together again and trying to adapt to that. Then it was like this weird hybrid place of like half and half.
And nobody knew what was going on.
No, and now you and I are in this place of like, we don't have that ability to go into an office 3 days a week and have people around us and do the social part. So we're very much relying on each other. And that is part of that adapting to, so it is not a change because we've done the change. Now it's adapting to our surroundings and what we need.
I guess we are in a more adaptable environment. Like our worlds are changing much more rapidly. They're much more fluid than they are.
We're driving that. Though.
Yes,
that's the difference.
So we're driving it, but then also it's almost like we're catching up with it as well in terms of like stuff's happening, and then we're having to go, oh, okay, this is how we operate now, or this is what's different. And I think I last week went to. So last week, the week before, I had 2 networking events. It might have been the week before, back to back, and I was like, oh, this is too much and it's exhausting. But what has been quite helpful when thinking about adaptability, I've always hated networking, but they've got easier. And actually, the last one I went to, I realised it was filling my cup because I was with people.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of that sense of energy and I had somewhere to be. And so I think it's finding all of these new balances and adapting to like, life will always now just be really different. Week to week, month to month. It'll be different, but I also need a bit of stability within that.
Yeah.
So it's like working out the new lie of the land.
I get that. I feel a bit like we've created a beast that we wanted. So we knew it was going to be a beast and we've created it. But I think for me, there's elements of it of actually understanding and knowing that the mind gremlins are much louder now than they've ever been. Because you were just talking about like going into work 3 days a week and then having a good team and having a bit of banter and then a bit of structure in terms of the expectations as well of the role of like, you've got like your hit list of stuff you have to get done basically.
And don't you know, that's very idealistic because that actually didn't play out a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's more chaotic than that, but I still think there's an element of a sequence of events that you have to get through, you're prepared to, and you're time restricted. So you have to be in at a certain time. You have to. So there's all those, whereas we don't have any of that. So I feel like our mind gremlins are much louder.
They've got more space to play.
They have got a lot of space to put. Mine are at a rave. They're not even playing.
Literally. The positive P's are well and truly screwed off.
They are literally
run away somewhere.
And I think that's what happened at the beginning of the week when I was messing around, because had I have been in an office, in a team, in structure, and I'd have felt like that, I probably would have voiced it to somebody sat near me. I'm trying to do this thing and I'm getting really frustrated because I just can't do it. And then all of a sudden on tap, you've got somebody that might have a look and go, well, have you tried this? And maybe try that. Or actually, no, I know somebody that's really good at this. Let me email them or get them, whatever. When you're on your own, you don't have that. So you kind of navigate away, and it's much, much harder to pull on the things that you need because there's nobody around you to help you.
Well, you're relying on yourself, going brain. Like, stop thinking about that and start thinking about that. And that's
it's so challenging
hard to do. And I think this is in the growth mindset workshop we run, we talk about that because I think it's really easy, particularly on like social media and all of that now, to be like, oh, well, you just go from I can't to I can try, or I'll look silly, but you don't know what might happen. Like all of those counters to have a growth mindset, which I think it's our bread and butter, we're very aware of and we have them. But to pull yourself out of it is not as simple as I can't into I can try. Like there's stuff you have to do, there's steps you have to take, and awareness is one of them. And it is so much harder. Whereas if you've got somebody next to you, it's like, oh, have you just tried that? You'll go, oh yeah, no, I haven't, I'll try it. Whereas if in your own internal monologue, if you say, well, if you've got to try that because your negative gremlin has already raised its voice. So even if you're trying to say, well, have you just tried that? It's almost like you're on the back foot. 'Cause it's like, well, either yes, I have and it hasn't worked, or well, no, I haven't because of course I haven't because I can't do that because I don't know how to do that. And it like sort of like goes on this like rampage.
Mine is literally like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to make a cup of tea. I just can't. I can't
have a cup of tea and I'm going to go and watch some
I can't get my head around. That is it, actually. Mine is more how can I distract myself physically, remove myself from the situation and have distraction, because I know that I can't tame my own inner thoughts by my own other thoughts, like positive thoughts.
Yeah, I can't overrule it.
It's trying to find that. And that's the bit where I'm having to adapt massively, of not knowing that there's not just another person around you that can help you, but also being very, very aware that I know how my inner thoughts work. Yes. And I think for all the love in the world of what you can throw out there in the ether of these kind of mini mindset reboots and like 2-minute activities and all of that stuff, they're great. But I think you have to know yourself really well first.
Well, that, and also they're never at hand when you want them. Right, no. So like it's
never like wasn't.
Well, I would need like my whole wall, but I think about this all the time. I should maybe make my whole wall like graffiti wall of like all of these reminders, because it's never, you can never access them
in the moment,
no, until either it's gone really far down, or you have taken yourself away and then you've made, and then gone, right, okay, and it's like it is that reset and that reboot. And I don't think, even in those moments, I don't then pull on many of those tools consciously. No. It's just that you've like taken a break, probably is the biggest thing. But I completely hear what you mean. I think it is that it's not necessarily the team, but it's what it all stands for, and having those people around you. And also, I think we've been much better over the last couple of weeks in terms of like accountability and making plans. And you've definitely last week were like, right, this is our hit list and this is what we've got to get done. And I was like, oh God, I hope she's not fuming with me because I haven't done that yet. But that then helps. And there's all of these things that we almost have to now consciously put in place. I think the adaptability now is, okay, we've been sussing this out and feeling it out. That sounds weird. Sussing it out. We've been sussing it out for a while and feeling our way around what this new world looks like. And I guess now it's more, we have the awareness. So then we've now got the choice of what do we want to pull from what is organisation life? Because I know there are some things that I've suggested before, not that I wanted them either, but when I was trying to like have a bit of control or contain some things, and it was like, oh, well, we'll use a Monday board or we'll do this, like, and that immediately was like, I don't want to feel like I'm in corporate or I'm at work again like that. So it's trying to find that balance between what structures, what tools do we need to pull from. And I think definitely for me, one is being in person with you, but also then what do I do on the other days? I probably need to find some networking, but I also probably maybe finding some co-working places that people just rock up to, or maybe like I go and work when my sister works from home, so I go and work there. It's just having proximity, I think, but it also means my day starts a bit more clearer and a bit cleaner. Yes. And it's actually, I think a lot of not just what we've done in the last 6 months, but really since COVID, by not just going in and knowing that Monday to Thursday I go into the office, and that's like I've lost the boundaries. So I think it's also about boundaries.
That's really interesting, because there's a lot of companies went remote, didn't they, fully with COVID, and a lot of companies have stayed that way, which is fine. And there are also companies that are now desperately trying to get people in like 4 or 5 days a week. And I know there's this real balance of like people moaning around like, oh, they get so much more hours and efficiency out of me when I'm at home, which is kind of true to a degree, but it's not for every single person.
It wasn't for me, because I was far more productive in the office.
See, if I wake up in the morning and I don't know, so the reason last week I feel was my most productive week is because once I'd gone over my little brain fart of I can't do this, and I'd got over it and figured out actually I can, the other 4 days were so productive. So I'd log on in the morning all day, finish, but I'd achieved shitloads. The difference is, if I don't get up in the morning and know what I'm doing, I go so rogue because procrastination takes over. And I could literally just go down a rabbit hole of a completely different topic that's not even relevant, and be like, oh, I'll just watch a YouTube video on that. I'll just read a book about this. And then I'm like, oh, I need to do that thing. Oh, it's okay, but I'm doing something productive anyway, so it's okay. So then I'm like replacing one thing with another thing.
Well, and also actually though, then the product, although you feel like you're being productive, it's not the highest priority thing that
no,
we need to do.
It might not even be relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, it may not even be in the same.
It might be. Sometimes we're like, that'll be helpful in 9 months' time. And we still focus on it. But I'm exactly the same. If I don't have a hit list, but also if I don't understand why I'm having to do that thing or where that fits, then that's also like oh, okay, yeah, we'll see.
But then that's purpose in the thing. It's not just purpose in the day in terms of I've got like a to-do list to get done. It's actually, are the things on the to-do list purposeful?
Yes.
Yeah.
And do I believe in them? Do I feel like ideally they're in my strengths a little bit, like it's not so rogue, because if not I'll never get started, because that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Is how do you get started when something feels so alien or so far out there? But then also I think it's us knowing each other so much more than 6 months ago as well. Like literally last week when you was like, yeah, but don't get excited and do that now. Like you need to do this first.
I can't even remember. I do remember saying that to you.
It was about, like in my head got a post that I thought would be really cool. Like, and I was like, oh, I can make a really cool image about that. And he was like, no.
Do that later.
Not yet.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I think there's all of these little things, like in terms of self-awareness, that I have never learned so much about myself, how I operate, what I need, how I work, and that's gone so much beyond. Like I think the strengths were the starting point of that this time last year, but I think now it's like not my strengths, but more in terms of intrinsically who I am and how I operate and what I need. And it's a lot to constantly be processing.
Yeah. I definitely know myself better now, more than I ever have. And it's even, I think I was quite aware, not of my strengths necessarily, but I knew the things that motivated me, which obviously then did turn out to be my strengths. I just hadn't named them.
Yeah.
But I knew where I was getting my energy from, but I was very blind to the fact of where I was being drained. And I think that's the thing that I've learned the most, is actually it's okay to not do things because they are energy drainers.
Yes.
And I think sometimes it's not even working it out. It's actually thinking, well, actually, if I got some help on this, or I got somebody else to be involved, I could then put my energy into the things that are positive and make me feel great, all that great stuff. So yeah, that's the one thing that I've learned a lot, is where is my energy being drained, and when do the gremlins get so loud that then they're so disruptive that nothing gets done. And that's the one thing that I've learned a lot in the last handful of months is, okay, this is why you procrastinate. This is why you believe that thing. This is why that has a negative impact. All of those things.
Well, I think as well, like it's not yes, we've got a lot to do, but it's not, like when you've got an actual job and there's always, so like I've never worked in a role where there's like just a nice amount to do. There's always loads to do, and there's always a time pressure on it, and there's always like if you can't then finish that bit, there's always somewhere else to go to where there's like and your lists are almost like pre-formed for you, aren't they? Like everything you need to do is almost set up in terms of, some of it is not, but largely, even if it's like, right, okay, we want to solve this problem with a learning need, there's still like a bit of a process you go through. And so you know what needs to happen when. And if you don't, again, you're working in an organisation where you can then work that out fairly rapidly.
Yeah.
And you work with the team to do it. Whereas I think that's probably one of the bigger things for me, is breaking things down, and I need to get better at. I need to just do this once and for all, probably. But in terms of like, okay, I know that we need to create this or do this thing, not break it down step by step like a project plan, but like almost be like, well, what do the chunks of that look like? What does need to happen? Because that's my biggest thing, is starting something, getting something started. Even if it's something that I enjoy doing, that is often my hardest bit.
Mm.
And I don't know why. I don't really know if there's a quick answer for that. And then definitely if it's something that I haven't done before or I'm not so sure on, or it feels exposing.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest thing. Actually, probably one of the harder things is what we are doing right now is exposing on a much bigger scale.
Mm.
Because it's like when we're delivering or when we're doing what we do, that feels absolutely fine.
Mm.
But when you're trying to either have to put your thoughts out there or you're putting content out or we're doing some advertising or marketing or going to networking events, all of these things is sort of like you're putting yourself out there for the world to see. And there's so many responses to that in terms of like, okay, if they don't get like much traction or not much engagement, like our following count hasn't increased or like all of these things, that's like, oh, well, what was wrong with that? It's much harder to get the positive reinforcements, I think,
It
on
is
those
harder,
things.
and also to back that up, it's easier to pick at stuff. It's easier to pick at it and go, well, this must have been rubbish, or that must have not been any good, or that must have... So you end up picking it into detail rather than what we say is like use the magnifying glass and all of that is data, and then you pick up that and you reflect on it and you figure out how to turn it into something positive. But it is really hard because it's our thing. Like I know historically when I've worked in organisations, if something hasn't worked out, I've always had this thing in the back of my mind of like, well,
It's not mine.
no one's going to die, and also it's not mine.
Yeah.
I'm not literally solely responsible. Like it's not my company, it's not my money, it's not my product. I'm just a number in a machine or a cog in a wheel, whatever it might be, to get from point A to point B. And there's many more versions of me getting from point A to point B within this organisation. But when it's your own and you're navigating it, it's much easier to pick at the negative things, and we don't do a very good job of turning them into anything positive. Because when you're in a group of people in a team,
you've always got somebody,
and you're throwing something under the lens and going, okay, what worked well, what didn't work well, what learnings have we taken from it, etc. It's much easier to do because I think there's less pressure on the fact that it will just eventually get sorted, like it will all come out in the wash. But I think with us, it's much easier to go to be negative and really pick on it. And
well, I think it's interesting though, again, isn't it? It's like the things that we pick on or the things that we struggle with or that are harder to get going is the social media and is the content creation. It's not. It's really, I find it really bizarre because it takes so long to create the content for like a post or whatever for lots of different reasons. And then it's so easy to pick at that. But in terms of like our much bigger, like when we're creating webinars or programs or coaching and when we're doing the meaty stuff that we do, it doesn't take as long to create, but also they're much more tangible things to be able to go, okay, so what did work, what didn't work? Whereas with the content you're creating, it's almost like maybe I just need to be able to just let it go.
Not worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think the things that cause the greater stress are the things that feel less within our control.
And also, they're not the things, that's not what we set out to do anyway. We set out to create programs and help people and all of that stuff. I think the social media side of it was like a byproduct of, well, we probably should because
everyone
that's
does.
the done thing and that's what we should be doing. So, but it's, again, that is that adaptability piece. It's adapting in our environment. Like it was a change. We went through the weird transition thing and then adapted to it. And now we're here. But then we just have to readapt and think, well, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Because we know that the reason we're doing it is because of the programs and the working with people.
Yes, the social media isn't our why. It's not the thing we're doing.
It's just almost a vehicle of many that we're using to get out there. But yeah, I think, and that is the whole purpose of that whole adapting piece of thinking, well, some things will work, some things won't, and that's absolutely fine. But it's not necessarily putting all of the eggs in the basket of, well, it didn't work, so then we failed. It's actually saying, well, sod it, put that basket to one side and we'll carry on with the other things that we've done. And that's the bit where I'm finding the adaptability piece is having to really come to play and be in place. Because if not, I find the thoughts around it are so powerful. We could think we're failing at everything, but we're actually not.
Yeah. Well, yes, I see I think having thought about adaptability as like the thing, the word and the concept has made it much easier, because it's almost like it's given a space for all of these thoughts and feelings to play in and go, oh, well, that's because I'm adapting from this to this, or maybe I've adapted from that to here, but I don't actually, that's not helpful, and so I need to pivot again.
Yeah.
So it's given them like a little incubator to play
like a sand
in.
pit.
Like a little sand pit, yeah. And then some of the stuff we're just stones we're not going to want. The shells we'll keep and put somewhere else. Yeah, I think for me it's been really helpful to think about it in terms of adaptability rather than just what the fuck is going on.
It's constantly flexing though, isn't it? But we've been doing this for years, like for centuries actually. Everybody's been changing and evolving and getting where they need to be and finding out what works and what doesn't work. But it is also a bit of a head fog.
Well, it's exhausting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it's tiring. Like, I'm so tired of like having multiple thought processes.
Life. I'm just tired
well,
of life.
And that. I'm just tired of everything.
You're so dramatic.
Me, dramatic. No, but I'm tired of like that narrative. It's not a single narrative. I'm tired of, how many times can I say I'm tired?
One more time, go on. You know you want to.
I'm tired of having to constantly think about what's going on and it being a very big presence in my brain rather than just being able to sit down and do some stuff.
It's noise, that's why.
It's noise.
But then amongst the noise, there is some value add. But it's trying to turn down the shit that you don't want and turn up the value add stuff that you do want. And that's the bit where I find it really muddy. It is that middle bit, isn't it? That's really muddly, really messy. And it takes a long time, I think, to pluck out the bits that are value add.
Well, ultimately, we are doing this bit that we're doing. There has been this first, so there's like the first couple of months, which were like mega, like that was where all of it was like the honeymoon period, wasn't it? In terms of like all of the excitement, and we like spent a good 3 months probably really playing around with it, working out what the business is, what we stand for, what we want to be doing really clearly, etc. And playing around with the offers, and like we went down a few roads where it was like, oh no, that doesn't feel quite right, etc, etc. This bit where we're in now for the last couple of months has been the real marketing, advertising, communicating, showing up, and that's the bit that we've never had to do before. We are not those, that is not our profession and our role. It's a bit that we both hate, and we've in what we do and our expertise, we sit in the fun playground bit and understanding the problem and understanding what we're trying to solve. We sit in the bit of solving it. We sit in the bit of providing the offers and providing the solutions and delivering the solutions. What we have never had to do is advertise the solutions, and if we have had to advertise them, it's to either willing participants or people that have to do it.
Well, yeah, it's been to not people that the manager said you have to do this thing,
or they are in. It makes sense for them to do it, or it's like it's on their career path or whatever. It makes sense to. Whereas what we are having to do is go and meet new people and convince them that what we do is what they need, and it is. We know that it is, and that there's space for it, etc.
Yeah,
but we're not salespeople, marketeers, or advertising campaign people, and so that's why it makes it really, really uncomfortable. Which is why probably, as well as the adaptability, being really aware of our strengths. Probably for you last week, hanging on to that, like once you'd got over the block, you was then almost in delivery mode.
Yeah.
Which is your absolute happy place.
Yeah.
And so therefore you could just create, like, I think over the last 2 weeks, all of the things that you've delivered.
Yeah, definitely is my happy place, 100%. And I think it's for me, it's definitely, I'm having to force myself to reflect. Even though I'm a massive reflector, I'm still having to consciously think, stop, reflect, and reboot to get to that happy place, because it's some things that I'm not used to doing. And it's not that I'm not willing to try, I am, but it's constantly keeping myself motivated enough to go, there's a purpose for this, there's a reason for it, and the outcome will be really good. So you have to keep going. And that's the bit, that self-talk, self-coaching is what I'm doing every day to make sure that there's always output. Because what I don't want to get to is a point where I think after, like, I don't know, say last week hadn't have panned out how it did, and I did actually give up because I said, I can't do this. There would be, I wouldn't have got, there would be no resources. I wouldn't have got to where I got to. So then the end of this week would only then fuel the fire of that limiting belief that's saying you can't. And I would have now gone into this week feeling exactly the same, which means this week I won't be able to do all the things that I want to do. But that's quite hard because, like you say, it's a party of one. I'm doing it in my office on my own, talking to myself, thinking, how do I get over this? Versus you might sit in a team of people and say to somebody, do you fancy a walk and a coffee? Because I need to have a rant for 10 minutes. Like, it's very different. And it takes a lot of energy and a lot of focus, I think, to have that self-talk and do your own little mini reboot inside all of the time, for the things that feel alien. Not for the things that I love and bring me energy. No. It's only for the things that feel alien. But the one thing it has given me is, actually, you can try with a bit of time and get over it and do the thing. So I feel like I've learned something and I've won something.
Well, I think that's the other thing. When you were saying earlier, like when you first started talking about last week and was like, oh, well, I could go and speak to a team member and then they might know somebody that could then just do it for me, or that they'd have the advice, whatever. But I also then think over a period of time, we are going to have so many more strings to our bow than what we've ever had. And so, yes, it might be exhausting and it might be really painful and we're having to adapt all of the time. Let's just become comedians. But we then are going to be able to adapt more quickly and more readily in the future, like constantly in the future.
I think our ability to, what we're creating at the moment is a wider skill set, which hopefully in turn, as it becomes honed in, will become quite agile in the way that we work. And that enables you to pivot. And I think that's, I've got your friends, pivot.
That's how I feel sometimes. I feel like Ross literally standing there screaming and shouting, but nobody understanding. That's like, I think internally that is a very good reflection of like, you know, when you just are like, you just want to scream and shout, but your own brain won't get on board and doesn't understand what you're shouting and saying.
Absolutely. Yeah. All the time.
Yeah. That is what it is.
I think that's the point of getting to that bit of, how do we make ourselves adaptable in a way where we're not having to put a lot of effort in and it becomes an unconscious skill that we're saying, actually, we are very adaptable. We can pick this up and run with that and change this and whatever. And we will get to that point. I just think there's a lot of self focus, I suppose.
Well, there's sort of learning new things, isn't there? Like, it's all so very new. And I think with anything new or different, it's hard, but you have to sit with that hardness in order to get through the other side and make it worthwhile. But the discomfort, the sticky bit, like whatever it is for anybody, people's moments of stuckness are going to be really different. Ours, I guess, probably is a bit of a hindrance in some ways because we both get stuck
from the same things.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah. But on the flip side, we wouldn't have a business together because the things that we don't get stuck in are the same. And that's where all the ideas come from and that's where the business come from.
Yeah.
And so we've got to learn how to juggle this bit.
And that's the bit as well, actually, is learning each other, but the adaptability of how we are around each other and what brings us energy and motivates us and all of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. It's definitely, it's been an interesting week. It'll be interesting. Well, how many more times can I say that?
So we've said I'm tired and interested. Those are the two words.
Those are the 2 words for this week. What are you taking away from last week that will help you?
Oh, that's a very good question. What am I taking away from last week to this week? Oh my God, that's such a good question. I don't know if it's taking it from last week or probably the result of last week feeding into today's conversation and like this, but I think it is holding adaptability probably quite central, so that then when I am getting in my own head or getting stuck, it's like, right, okay, what am I adapting from and to? Like, what is going on? And I think last week was a lot of that in terms of moving from one phase, if you like, and into another, but also us sitting down on a Monday and having our hit list for the week. That's what I will take forward. Like that, I think last week was a real game changer and massively helped us together.
Yeah, it felt really good
moved
actually.
in through the week.
Yeah. Coming away with a to-do list each was actually really beneficial. It motivated me massively. And I was like, right, I've actually got stuff that I need to get. Not that we don't, but it felt really structured to have a really robust to-do list of there's purpose to this, because we know that getting that done feeds into this, and then that has a knock-on effect of that. And that's really important. I think the one thing I'm going to take away is I can with time, is my little mantra. I can with time, because I got really frustrated with myself last week and I was pissing myself off. And I hate it when I get in that mindset. So I think just that reflective, like I can do it with time, is how I'm going to approach the things that really niggle me and irk me and allow my inner gremlins to become much louder, is to quieten them, is actually just take a bit of time, whatever that looks like, whether it's time out, pause button, whatever it might be. That's how I'm going to try and create momentum in the things that I find challenging. Definitely.
That aren't your natural life forte.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I think also the other thing from last week, I need to find ways to have a little bit more in my weeks that are the things that give me strength. Not give me strength, like give me strength, but as in use my strengths is what I meant to say.
You're a parent. You should. How many times as a parent do you say that? God, give me strength.
No, use my strengths. Because I think that for me over the last month or two probably has been a real challenge, because I'm not doing that at the moment. I'm very aware of that. And then it just gets a bit draining. So thinking consciously about that.
Yeah.
It's just being really conscious, isn't it?
Yeah.
So ready for a good week.
Woo, let's rock. We can do this.
Let's do this. Cool.
See you next week for another check-in.
It's just our Monday check-ins. You're all now just part of our Monday business check-ins.
It's like a little team stand-up, isn't it?
Perfect. Right. See you soon.
See ya.